As we get into some of the outlines today, sort of for an agenda to give some folks the lay of the land, we're going to start off with just a few reminders of the principles and the hearing schedule that we're looking to accomplish through this task force. We are then going to turn it over to our Kelly Carpenter of our fiscal staff, who's going to give us an overview of the funding formula, and really we're deeming it Funding Formula 101. And the goal of today's session is very much around grounding the committee and the public in the core tenets of the funding formula and how it works, so that way we are well prepared as we go into some deeper topics as well. So with that said, I do want to jump in, Kelly, if you would help me, to the principles of the 2010 law. Maybe I can do it. Look at that, I can. The 2010 law that was passed. I'm certainly not going to read all of the principles on this slide, but just as a reminder, these were the principles that were passed in the 2010 law, really derived around ensuring that there was equity in the formula, that there was appropriate state and local share, and that we adequately addressed the needs of all students, regardless of their status or any other special needs that they may have. And so these are the tenets that we're going to continue to try to answer back to. In the enabling resolution for this task force, the mandate really was to review these principles of the formula and ensure that we believe that they are being adhered to and that the formula is reaching the goals of the formula. So with that said, that's kind of the way in which we're looking to proceed. We will start off tonight with a sort of 101 overview that I mentioned before. We will also take an initial look at an analysis that's been done on how well the formula has actually been implemented from the relation of the funding actually meeting what the formula had intended it to. And then we're going to end this evening with any public comment or testimony on successes or opportunities that folks may see in the formula. I do just want to say thank you in advance to the many members of RIDE, the Superintendents Association. Cindy Brown's here. I think I saw her earlier. Former RIDE, now in Portsmouth, I believe. In Middletown? Middletown. Senator Palmer corrects me, the senator from Middletown. Portsmouth will take her back. So Cindy, you have many job offers. But I do want to thank so many we've actually brought in to begin helping us in shaping some of this dialogue, and I want to thank them very much for their support. For the remaining hearings, what we're really looking to is after we establish the foundation or the groundwork of what we're looking at here in the funding formula, really trying to go into different elements and pieces of the formula to get a little bit of a deeper dive and to pick into some of those topics to make sure that we're fully reviewing. And so for the second hearing, something you're going to hear about today is something called the Basic Education Plan. We're going to hear overviews of a lot of these topics today, but we will go into much deeper detail on them further. So the second hearing is really going to be about that BEP and how it's mapped to drive the cost of the formula. The third hearing, really understanding the student success factor, and that was the factor that was added into the core of the formula to really address students with additional needs, whether it be poverty, ELL, special ed, and so we're going to really dig into that. Hearing 4 is really going to be taking a look at the state shares that we have and how much is a state responsibility versus a local responsibility, and what benchmarks and things are there out there that we can use and should be using to inform us as to the appropriateness of that share. And the last hearing that we currently have on the agenda is really looking at the accountability standards within the formula. So as we decide to target funds to specific areas, how do we know that those funds are reaching their targeted intent? And what does appropriate oversight look like? And also, what are the things that we can see? One of the good things that we've actually had as part of this formula, and even predating a bit, is we do have a uniform chart of accounts. So the one thing that we do have is we have very good visibility into where dollars are being spent statewide, and how can we leverage that data to find additional areas of opportunity from an efficiency standpoint, or areas of opportunity where we look at districts that are performing well. How do we look at them and say, what are they spending on versus other districts, and how do we make sure that we can provide as much guidance there? So this is the initial outline that we've come to. I think throughout this process, we certainly expect that it will change, and we'll be adding things or taking things off as members have different goals or questions that come up, or certainly as the public does as well. So this is sort of the hearing outline we're looking forward to getting going with tonight.